Hello, Canada and the rest of the world. Coming to you from Bauhaus Studios in beautiful downtown Port Credit, it's a special edition of the Tom and Rick Show for Mayor Hazel McCallion's 100th birthday. Joining us tonight from the Mississauga Arts Council and the mastermind behind Hazel's 100th birthday online extravaganza, Ron Duquette, Mississauga's own poet laureate, Wally Shaw. Creative director and producer of Hazel's 100th birthday show, Philippe Plascoda. Musical guest and performing for Hazel's birthday celebrations, Stephanie Braganza. From Lakeview Community Partners, Fabio Mazzocco and Alexandra De Gasperis. Ward 1 Councillor, Stephen Dasco. And now, your hosts, Tom Barlow, and sitting in tonight for Rickford, it's Jake Pedler.
Good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a very special edition of the Tom and Rick Show. Special why? Because we are celebrating the 100th birthday of the most famous Mississaugan. Is that how you say it, Jake? Mississaugan?
It could be that way, yeah, for sure.
The legendary Hurricane Hazel. She's having a 100th birthday this week, and this whole show is dedicated to her. Rick could not be here today. We have a fantastic special guest host. His name is Jake Pedler. He is the president of the Port Credit BIA. He is an award-winning realtor. Jake, thanks very much for being here today. How are you doing?
You know, I am fantastic, and what big shoes to fill with Rickford not being able to make it today. But yeah, I could see firsthand how much work is put into the show and what it's done for the community during these dark times. You guys have lifted the spirits of people tuning in, as well as the businesses in Port Credit and Mississauga. So thank you, and thank you for letting me be filling in on such a special occasion for Hazel's 100th.
Now, you are a local boy, Jake. You've been here for 30, 40 years. You've been in the Port Credit area.
That's right.
Surely you've come across Hazel in your experiences. Please let us know if you have like an anecdote or something you want to share with the people about our wonderful mayor.
Well, you know what? She has connected with thousands and thousands of people throughout these years, I'm telling you. And I guess my two personal experiences that stand out was I was a young police officer at one time with Peel Police. And when I graduated in 1990, I had the honor of the mayor presenting my badge to me in my class. So that was a special
Very
time.
cool.
And as well as, you know, she was a big supporter of the emergency services and whatnot. And then a few years later, I got a citizenship award for winning the Henley Regatta with the Don Rowing Club, and she presented me with that award too. So I think, you know what, there's nobody in this world like Hazel McCallion and what she has done not only for the city, but you know, she has put the city on the map worldwide.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Jake Pedler, our co-host for the evening, and we will be right back with a fantastic show. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very excited about this next guest. He is a very interesting young man. His name is Wally Shaw. He is a poet and spoken word artist. He was awarded RBC's Top 25 Canadian Immigrants, has impressed such notable figures as Seth Rogen, Chris Hadfield, and Kendrick Lamar, was the poet laureate for the city of Mississauga, and this past Sunday had a feature on him in the Toronto Star. Welcome to the show, Wally. Thanks for being here. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Now, you were asked to participate in the Hazel McCallion 100th birthday celebrations. Tell us about how you came to be a part of this celebration.
Well, I got to give some love to my friend Ron, who has been, you know, just a fantastic supporter over the years of my craft, and he's really seen me grow as a artist in the city of Mississauga, and you know, he really believed in me for this. And so he heard me perform many years ago at an event from the Mississauga Arts Council, and we kept in touch. And Ron just, you know, he reached out for this and said, look, we think, you know, poetry is on the rise right now. You'd be a great artist in addition to this show. And how can I say no? It's Ron. You know, I love the guy. He's doing great stuff, and love Hazel McCallion. And, you know, this is a great honor for me as an artist in my community. And to celebrate Hazel is something that, you know, kids like me can only dream of coming from Mississauga, right? So this is a fun opportunity for me, and I'm excited to have gotten a chance to do it.
And
that's awesome. Hey,
oh, go ahead, Jake. Go ahead.
Sorry. No, I just wanted to touch upon a little something. You've done some great work with Bell Let's Talk, and I saw a poem that you did there, and a couple things gripped me about our struggles unite us, and just wanted to ask you about your helping with awareness for mental health.
Yeah, it's a great question. To be honest, my work with Bell Let's Talk has been great. I think they've really made strides to have more of a diverse campaign over the years, which is great. A really important thing for me is just the idea of representation and how much that matters. Living in a country like Canada, where there's so many diverse voices from so many diverse communities, it's great to see that. I've got an opportunity to speak from that immigrant narrative of mental health as it affects so many newcomers to Canada, right? Because my parents, when they came to Canada, they really struggled, Jake. We didn't have a lot of money. They struggled speaking the English language. I mean, talk about anxiety and, depression, having to deal with people that don't understand you every single day, right? Not knowing what bus to take to go to the doctor's office. Like, they really struggled with that. And so to really speak about that openly is a huge honor. And there's a lot of other people, especially in the city of Mississauga, that can relate to that struggle. And so I feel really grateful to be able to have that voice to speak on that, and as a young kid myself, growing up in that environment, we never really had conversations about mental health, right? Like, my parents were so busy, they were always working, trying to put food on the table for me and my siblings, that, never really had the opportunity to tell my parents, hey, I'm struggling with this myself, right? It was just like, you got to go to school, you got to get good grades, and, focus on your academics, where mental health wasn't even a point of conversation for much of the time.
Well, that's a great question.
Well, that work that you've done is definitely going to open some doors. Yeah.
Now, Wally, for our audience who is not familiar with you, would you be able to share a piece of your poetry that might indicate what kind of things you do?
Yeah, definitely. So I've got a poem here that I wrote for Christmas back in 2020, a few months ago, and it's one poem that I think really speaks to the importance of giving, and often just how important it is to give small. I think a lot of people think that if they give small, it's not nearly enough, but this poem really shows the quite opposite. So this poem's called "The Toonie." Here it goes. Jimmy is hungry, just a kid with nothing to eat. He walks by Queen and Bank and finds a toonie on the street. He walks into a Timmy's to get a donut and a tea, but the lady at cash gives him a smile and his order for free. He steps into the cold to a homeless man holding an empty cup. He drops the toonie inside and tells him to stay up. Mark is his name. He's been homeless since he was 20. $2 isn't a lot, but a snack would be plenty. On his way to the store, he passes a food bank that he never saw before. He goes inside and is greeted with a smile. They offer Mark a meal and he stays for a while. As he gets up to leave, he hears a woman cry and complain. He recognizes her and says, "What's wrong today, Jane?" "I'm stressing I lost my change for the bus." He passed the toonie and said, "It happens to all of us." Jane sits at the bus stop, going to get treatment for her cancer. A passerby asks her how she is, and before she could answer, he smiles and hands her a bus transfer. As she gets on the bus, the toonie falls out from her purse. The toonie on Bank Street made a blessing from a curse. John walks with his son Will to go watch the Senators play. They both come across the toonie as they walk on Christmas Day. Will picks it up and says, "Dad, I'd like to give this to you. I'm just so thankful for all the things that you do." See, all it takes is a little to change the world a lot. Money comes and goes, but kindness isn't forgot. All we have is each other. Through the highs and the lows, our kindness and compassion always ripples and grows. Live to share that kindness so that others can live. We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. Thank you.
That was amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now,
Thank you.
What an inspiring and amazing poem and delivery. For people who want to see more of your work, first of all, when can they find you in the Hazel celebrations? And secondary, where can they find your work in general?
So we'll work that backwards. My work is on my website or on my Instagram, and you can find it by typing in lifeaswally.com or lifeaswally/Instagram.com. And in terms of my slot in the show, I'm actually not sure about that. So you're gonna have to watch the whole thing and find out.
All right, excellent.
But
what an
yeah.
absolute treat and honor to have you here today. Congratulations with all your most recent success. Mississauga's Poet Laureate, Wally Shaw, thank you so much, and we will be right back.
Welcome back, everybody. And honestly, there's 4 more sleeps till Mayor Hazel McCallion's 100th birthday bash on Valentine's night. We have a talented young musicians up next, and I'm going to pass it over to Tom to do the introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have on the show for you Stephanie Barganza. She is a Mississauga-based singer-songwriter. She won the Toronto Indie Award for Best Live Artist. The CBC ranked her top 10 Canadian South Asian artists. She has a new single called Chains of Silence, which is an acoustic version of her hit single that had over 120,000 views on YouTube. Stephanie, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. Now, you are one of the key performers in this amazing tribute to Hazel's life. Tell us a little bit about how you got that gig and what you're going to be doing.
Well, I was honored to be asked to be a part of Hazel's virtual concert / documentary by Ron Duquette and Mike Douglas. And in working on my performance for the concert, I learned a lot of great things about Hazel. I learned that she grew Mississauga to one of the biggest cities in Canada. And she's basically a living witness to Mississauga's growth, all while keeping crime low. She's just made such an impact. So I'm really honored to be a part of the concert that we're going to have on February 14th.
And what will you be performing? One of your own songs? Will you be doing a cover? What are you going to be doing as part of the show?
So actually, I also found out that Hazel was the first female mayor of Mississauga. And so the song I'm going to be doing is I Am Woman by Helen Reddy. And I feel like that's so appropriate. And I'm really excited to be performing for her.
Very, very
That's a fantastic choice. And a quick question I have for you, Stephanie, is I read about your Guinness World Record being part of a longest concert. Can you tell us about that little fun fact?
So it was in a place in Stouffville, and they were having bands come and play nonstop until they broke the world record for longest concert. And it took about a year for the Guinness World Records to finalize it, just make sure everything was legit, and it was successful. So I can say that I've been part of breaking a world record, which is amazing.
Oh, that's awesome.
That is very, very cool. Now, Stephanie, you're going to be doing a little performance for us in a few minutes. But before we do that, can you tell us where people can find you if they're interested in you as an artist?
Yeah, so my name is Stephanie Braganza, and you can find all my socials on stephanieb.ca. People tend to not be able to spell my last name very well. I'm really I'm an avid user of Instagram, so you'll see me on there most often.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, This has been Stephanie Braganza. Thanks very much for taking the time to be with us today. We look forward to your performance on Sunday and to checking you out online. And we will be right back with an a cappella performance by Stephanie. We will see you on the other side. Ladies and gentlemen, singing her wonderful song, Shine, this is Stephanie Barganza.
I'm listening to the sound of raindrops dancing on the window. Though no one wants to feel the rain, I think it's beautiful. All these little things I notice I've never seen before. Until you came along and touched me, I let you through the door. Don't know what you've done to me, but I really like your style. I feel like a child again. keep my balance as I dance down the street. Every time that I see you, my world turns to color. You are out of this world. I feel like I could shine.
Hey, I'm Carson Freeman from the Tom and Rick Show's Cooking with Carson, and I want to wish Mayor McCallion a very happy birthday.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Our next guest is no stranger to the city of Mississauga, spending 40 years heavily involved in so many different boards and helping this city grow. He's the past chair of the Southside Shuffle that definitely helped put Port Credit on the map with the talented lineup they would always have and such a great festival. And he helped out with the mayor's retirement, coordinating that in 2014, not too long ago. And presently, he is a president as well as a founder of Mississauga's Legends Row. And of course, we can't forget the Mississauga Arts Council, the leadership role you've taken there, and your involvement in Mayor Hazel McCallion's 100th birthday. And we're excited to have you on, and we're excited what's in store for this event on Sunday.
Well, I'll tell you, it's one of those projects that kind of took on a life of its own when we started thinking about it 6 months ago. And it's become what I like to describe as 100 years and 100 minutes. So that's the length of the show. And really, I guess the best way to describe it is a kind of a mini documentary of Hazel's life, where we've looked at key points throughout her life and her career, right from birth to retirement. And we've interspersed that with 13 phenomenal performances, incorporating pretty close to 200 artists, Mississauga artists, in various genres, from jazz to blues to rock to spoken word to dance. So we've covered a lot of areas of the arts, if you will. And then we've received tributes from a variety of people, politicians, and so on across the country, and those will be included, interspersed throughout the show as well. So there's something for everyone, and I think it's one of those events, especially on Valentine's Day, where hopefully you can have a lovely Valentine's meal, an early meal, and sit down at 7:30 on the couch and relax for an hour and a half of entertainment.
That sounds like a fantastic way to spend your evening. Now, you mentioned 100 years and 100 minutes. What are some of the highlights, maybe for people who aren't from Mississauga, aren't from Port Credit? What are some of the highlights in Hazel's life that stick out to you as being important?
Well, you know, she was born on the Gaspé Coast, and in fact, I've known Hazel for about 45 years, and that was our original connection. I too was born on the Gaspé Coast, just up the road from her. Very small fishing village, certainly a big family, you know, not a lot of money going around back in those days. She likes to emphasize the fact that, you know, they had a garden and most of their vegetables came from that, and they had a lot of fish because her father operated a fish plant right on the waterfront of the village. So anyway, she didn't have a lot to do, she says, so they started playing hockey, and they actually had a women's hockey league in the area. So Hazel became a hockey player along with two of her sisters, and she went to Montreal and Quebec City for her education. And I guess it was in Montreal that she discovered there was actually a professional women's hockey league operating, and she inquired, and they signed her up for the incredible sum of $5 a game, which I guess was a lot of money for hockey players back in those days. So she was educated. She went to work for several companies in the Montreal area, and then became involved with a very large engineering firm. And that's how she came to Toronto, because they were building a plant in Sarnia, and they wanted her to run the office in Toronto. So she came here. She met the man who would become her husband, Sam McCallion, and they decided to move up to Streetsville. And she became involved in the area, in the Streetsville area. Had her three children, growing up there, and that's where I think her interest in politics really culminated. She wasn't happy with things in the Streetsville, in the little village, so she let that known. And next thing we know, she's the mayor of the village. Of course, in 1974, we had amalgamation. And all of these small villages and towns throughout the Mississauga area amalgamated to become the city of Mississauga. And even though she was opposed to that move, she wanted Streetsville to still have that small town feel, and felt that it would be gobbled up by the big megalopolis, if you will. At any rate, it happened, and she became a councillor representing Streetsville. And I think it was after 2 years on council, she thought, I don't really like the way things are going here. I'm going to either go for it or get out. And so she decided to run for the mayor's spot. And she won by about 3,000 votes in that first election. And then the rest is history. I mean, from that day forward, I don't think she even had to run a campaign. She was acclaimed, I think, at least 3 or 4 times. And didn't open a campaign office, didn't run a campaign, just, told everybody that she was still interested in the job, and she'd get 93% of the vote. I remember Don Cherry saying once after the 93% vote, he said, I want to go out and find those other 8% and take my hockey stick with me.
That's typical Don Cherry. Well, and then how can the viewers find this event on Sunday? Whereabouts are you going to be posting it?
All you need to do is go to the Mississauga Arts Council website, and it will be streaming on Facebook Live and YouTube, and the link will be right there. It's very, very easy, and you can get right in at 7:30.
Okay, well, we will make sure that we put some links up there. And before we let you go, Ron, first of all, thanks for all the work you've done for our community, specifically to strengthen our arts community. We just had Ali Shaw on. And I asked him, how did you become the poet laureate? How does a poet break out? And he specifically talked about you, hearing him and being his champion and being in his corner. And it's people like you that artists need to thrive in a community. So thank you for putting on this great event and for having an eye and an ear for young artists in the community. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you tune in for all of these events. Sorry, go ahead, Ron.
I was going to say, like you and Jake and a lot of people throughout this city, we love Mississauga, we love Port Credit, we love where we live, and that's why you get involved in community. We need to find more people to do that and strengthen the things that are going on in our community, and I love it.
Well, thanks for all you do. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be right back.
Rick here for the Tom and Rick Show. Happy birthday, Hazel. 100 years old, the woman who built Mississauga. Couldn't be happier for her. Happy birthday, Hazel.
Welcome back. Hazel's 100th, and we can't wait for that bash on Sunday. I'm going to punt it over here to Tom, who's going to introduce the next guest today.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as you've heard from several of our previous guests, the mayor, we can still call her the mayor, even though she's the former mayor. Mayor Hazel is known as the builder of Mississauga. And what better guest to have on than people who were involved with the physical building of Mississauga. We have Fabio Mazzucco and Alexandra De Gasperis here. Fabio is from Lakeview Community Partners, and Alexandra is from TAC Construction. Thank you very much for coming today, guys. And as I was just saying, you guys are builders, which means you guys have worked with Hazel a hand in glove over the years. What can you tell us about the experience of working with her?
Well, Tom, thanks, and Jake, thank you for having us. It's great to be back with you. Hazel never ceases to amaze us. Just recently, I think last year we had our community engagement event, one of the four large events we had, and I think there was 300-400 people there. Our architect Sasaki was presenting the improved vision for Lakeview, and Hazel was there, full spirits, and I had the chance to talk to her briefly after. I said, Hazel, what did you think? And she said, I like it. Now let's get it built, and it goes to show how, direct and to the point she is, and how sharp, and, she's, what she's done for our community is immeasurable. Happy birthday, Hazel, and cheers to many more. And I know Alex has more to say in her relationship with Hazel.
Yeah, so I've actually known Hazel since I was a little girl. I grew up seeing this, how everyone calls her Hurricane Hazel, this powerhouse of a woman. And I would see her every year. Our family business, our family company, the TAC Group, hosts a golf tournament every summer. And politicians are there, and local councillors are there, and people from the federal level, the provincial level, and our business partners. And it's just a really great way to get people together and enjoy the summer. And every year Hazel was there. And every year as a little girl, I saw this woman amongst a room full of men. And I thought, wow, she's important. She's incredible. She's a mayor. And then I got to know her, and I grew up hearing about the city builder and never fully appreciated what that meant. And then I find myself in this industry, and she's been such a personal inspiration to me. She's an incredible powerhouse. She's become a mentor to my father, to myself, and she's been a dear friend to my grandfather. So Hazel, at 100 years old, you continue to be absolutely incredible and utterly inspiring. So if we can only get to 100 and be as sharp as you, my God. So to 100 more, Hazel.
Well, that's a great tribute. And the one thing about my Lakeview Village on a greedy side, I just live off of Ogden, so I'm just right down the end of the street from this fantastic project that you guys are doing, and it taking a desolate land to a creation. We'd love to have a little bit of an update from you, Fabio, and then I got a question for Alexandra about the art input that you guys are kind of combining with this project at large. So Fabio, why don't you give us a little update on where the project is?
Yeah, thanks, Jake. Last year during COVID, we had launched a great initiative. We provided 19 artists the opportunity to design the exterior hoarding for our Discovery Center. And this year, that was like a $100,000 initiative that we did during COVID. It really provided some money where it was needed, and it was touching for me to see that. We made some friends that I think will last throughout this, and partnerships throughout this building of this community. So that was pretty cool. This year, I think late August is our target to open the Discovery Center and bring that art through the building and continue the partnership that was successful with Artscape into the next stages here. Ultimately we want to get that onto the waterfront, right onto the waterfront trail, right down to the water in Lakeview Square, which will be, Lakeview the heart of the community on the water. So it's all steps to get to where we all collectively want to be, and we're really excited for these next stages.
Mm-hmm. Alexandra, can you add to that?
Yeah, so I have a personal love and adoration for the arts, and I think that it's extremely incredible and important for it to be within new communities. So we often talk about in community building the art of placemaking and how important that is. We know now that people no longer want to be in these cold, boring places. People want to be able to have vibrancy because people are not really working from offices anymore. And whether or not that trend continues, their home is the most important place. So placemaking is of utmost importance. And that's one of our key, it's one of the key things we're trying to accomplish here at Lakeview. And our partnership with Artscape has made that possible, even though we have a dirt field right now. That just goes to show what hoarding and activating hoarding through these incredible artists have accomplished. during a time when these artists really needed it the most. What can happen when there's incredible architecture and buildings and art intermixed among all that, right? So I think we're really looking forward to our partnership with Artscape and seeing how it grows. There are some exciting announcements coming this year. So everyone needs to stay tuned for that. But there's a lot of exciting things in the works with them, and the potential to have the first ever Artscape Atelier actually here at the core of this development, where artists will be living, working, creating art for this development, for Mississauga, for abroad. So many exciting endeavors going on here.
I think it's such a fascinating connection, because it's one that I'm not aware of happening in other places and other developments, where in many ways it's art driven. Alexandra, I know you're a member of the Ontario Arts Council, and when I was looking you guys up today, the Financial Post, of all places where you don't expect to read about art, the Financial Post said that you'd put up $100,000 directly to artists to create a sort of artscape for the community. So I think that's very exciting. I think it shows a real understanding of the community, and we salute you guys for doing that. And we thank you very much for being here with us today. Is there anything you'd like to leave us with before we end our little segment here?
Thank you, Tom and Jake. And just to build off the energy that we felt last year, we hope we can get that back, where we saw the artists come and bring energy with just creating the murals. And you came, Tom, and you played the Sunflower Deck series overlooking the sunflowers. Those will make a return this year, and hopefully with the COVID restrictions, if we can get them lifted and do our part, we can maybe experience that again. Like, the energy the arts brings here is evident. We saw it last year, and we want to build on that. So let's hopefully we'll look forward to that this summer.
Right. Thank you very much, Alexandra. I don't know. You look like you might have been jumping in there to say something. Did I cut you off?
I mean, I always have something to say, but Fab really covered it. There's a lot of exciting initiatives coming. Lakeview Village will be an inspiration for communities to be built in the future, and I honestly think that this project has been inspired by Madam Mayor Hazel McCallion. So she actually, in the early stages of our planning of the secondary plan, the master plan rather, we showed it to her and she loved it, and she told us to change a few things. And so just having her input, and this being about Hazel's birthday, we just hope that this can be a place that all of Mississauga is proud of, because we are.
That is a beautiful sentiment to end on. Thank you very much, guys, for taking the time to be with us here today. And we look forward to the spring and a reopening and a rejuvenation and all of the wonderful things coming to us from Lakeview. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be right back. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Tom and Rick Show featuring Jake Pedler. And we have Philip Plascota with us here right now. He is the Executive Director of Creators at Play, which is a video production, video editing, and marketing company. And his company is in charge of creating this amazing event for Hazel's 100th. Welcome, Philip. Thanks for making the time. I know you're super busy right now as this event is being finalized and being put together. Welcome, and please tell us what is going on, your involvement, how it's going to look, and what people can expect.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me part of the show. It's great to be on the other side. Normally, I'm the one doing the interviews, so feel kind of in an alien world here. But yeah, it's been an honor to work on the show. I can't take sole credit. I mean, Ron Duquette is the driving force behind this, and I have great people on my team from Mac and another editor, Eric Soto. But behind me, actually, is what you were mentioning. The show is going on as we speak. It's going to be remarkable. I mean, what's to say? There's 100 years here of content. The footage spans to like the 1920s. Like, we're going through pictures of like before there was like 360p to 4K and everything in between and every kind of file format. So just the reign of Hazel is so long, and just to be part of kind of creating this kind of show around it and seeing all the content come in from all across Canada, it's just so beautiful. And her legacy is like, you'll hear what people have to say about her legacy. I've heard it for the past couple weeks here nonstop, but it's truly historic.
Are there
Well, Philip, your passion is definitely shows, and how did you kind of get started in this field? I saw the website, and you got so many big clients that you've able to finagle in your short career, but I'm sure your passion and talent has part of it. But how did you get started, and how did the road lead to doing this with the mayor?
You know, I have a background in marketing and communications, and I originally started kind of on the marketing side, and it was the creation of, like, whether it was words or pictures or all these types of things to create marketing messages. So one day I realized the turnaround and like the attention rate of a video. And once I realized that the best way to communicate is with a video. I got the most amount of people responding. I was able to actually see changes that I couldn't really see as much in like short, like tweets or even just like a photo on IG. And to be honest, I just chased it. I looked at everything I could in Mississauga, from festivals like Bollywood Monster Mash to Karasaga, and I just tried to kind of be everywhere and filming stuff for fun first, vacation videos, travel vlogs, and really that kind of made me realize, wow, this is something I actually enjoy. And it's bizarre because it took me until like I was 28 years old to realize that this is the lane for me. I felt before then I was trying a little bit of everything. And kind of what brought me specifically to this project was when COVID started, I reached out to Ron Duquette and Mississauga Arts Council, and I was sitting at home, I was a little stir crazy, and I wanted to do something. I felt like people were contributing, you know, it was frontline workers, and here I was, a guy who does video, and now we can't go outside and film. So I reached out and I said, let's do something. What can I do? And Ron Duquette reached back to me and said, I have this idea for this Rise Up concert. And shortly after that, I was on calls with him and Mike Douglas, and we were kind of in the midst of creating the first virtual concert in Mississauga.
Well, I think it's a fantastic story. And for the young artists out there, you know, we get a lot of them on the show sometimes, and they're saying, you know, I'm 23 and I haven't made it yet. And there you are saying, I'm 28, and at 28 I figured out what I wanted to do. Now, you were saying that it's 100 years of content. 100. Are there any moments when you're looking through all of that where you were just like, wow, this is a remarkable woman who has done remarkable things? Are there any one or two or three things that pop to you in particular?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot, but just to kind of keep it brief and to make sure you guys tune in for the show, one of the things that really, like, I guess touched my heart was the train derailment and kind of what Hazel had to do in that situation, and being kind of new to the job around that time in her career. And here is like this national emergency. That really kind of like stood out to me as seeing kind of what's going on in the world now in terms of events happening, and to have to respond to that, like that kind of like giant evacuation of like, I think it was 200,000 people, like that stood out a lot to me. But one of the things that actually now, maybe in my older years, I'm a little more responsible thinking is Hazel actually built the city without using like a ton of taxpayer money. Like there was a point where we were building a city and we have money in the bank. That just, you know, it seems so crazy that someone could be like that fiscally responsible and give us the city that like now I call home.
Well, we really appreciate you taking the time. As I said, I know you're mid-edit right now and trying to get everything ready for Sunday. One more time, can you reiterate what people can expect to see and where they can find it?
Yeah, so the show is going to be airing on Valentine's Day. It'll be on the Mississauga Arts Council Facebook and YouTube. So you'll have to pay attention to that. And when it starts, just make sure you have a nice warm cup of tea or wine or whatever it is that you have, and just kick back, because you're going to see history being made. Like this is the birth of our nation, of our city. This is the mother of Mississauga, kind of bringing this all to us. And I couldn't think of anyone better to host it than Bonnie Crombie. So it's wonderful.
Right. Well, that is a beautiful,
Excellent.
Yeah,
beautiful
you'll be watching
sentiment.
that right there in a couple days.
Right. That is a beautiful sentiment. Very well put. The mother of Mississauga. I've never heard that before, but what a great way to put it. Thank you very much for making the time, ladies and gentlemen. That was Philip Plascota, the executive director of Creators at Play, who is in charge of this amazing virtual visual celebration we're going to have. Thanks very much for making the time, and we will be right back. Welcome back, my friends, here at this celebration of Hazel McCallion's amazing, remarkable, groundbreaking life. And what we'd like to do is just give you a little bit of historical context. Hazel was 12 years old when Prohibition ended. She was 48 years old when the first man landed on the moon. She was 18 years old when Canada's Great Depression ended. To you, Jake.
Oh boy, Tom, she was 46 years old when the Leafs won the cup last. And you know what? 54 years younger than this country of Canada itself. And 6 years old when TV signal was first transmitted. And the biggest one, she is older than the Canadian flag.
Ladies and gentlemen, what a life, what a legacy. We will be right back with more on the amazing person that is Hazel McCallion.
Happy birthday, Madam Mayor.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are at the Tom and Rick Show with special guest host Jake Pedler. Jake, who do we have coming up on the show, and what can you tell us about them?
Well, it's my privilege to introduce our counselor for Ward 1. He sits on the BIA board as well. I see how hard he works for the constituents, the small businesses in Port Credit and South Mississauga. And we must also add that it was his 50th birthday yesterday. So a happy birthday to the one and only Councillor Daskos.
Welcome to the 50 Club.
Oh, man.
Tell us a little bit about what's going on. There's this massive event. I know that you've worked with Hazel many times over the years. Tell us if you have any recollections, anecdotes that you want to share with our viewers about this wonderful and fascinating person.
Truly fascinating person, icon. When you hear the word icon, there's very few people that really do fit into that, and that really is Hazel McCallion. Madam Mayor, as I call her to this very day, I've had the real pleasure. I've known her since before I was elected, but since becoming elected, she has been beyond gracious with me. And going into the pandemic, we would sit regularly, and she would be a great source of counsel for me, and a great sounding board, and also always have that bit of advice as well. So she truly is one of a kind. There's no sugarcoating it with Hurricane Hazel by any stretch. The way she calls it is the way she says it, and she truly is amazing. I know when I was a kid, my first introduction to her was I was in a Cub Scout group, and we had a field trip, and our field trip was to go to the old City Hall, and that was to meet the mayor. And we went in, we met Madam Mayor, and it was a life-changing event for me, because it was one where I truly saw the value and the importance of serving the public.
Wow. So
yeah, when you
go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, no, I was just saying you hit it on the head when you say an icon and a trailblazer for women as well, and such a role model for young and older women. What is she has accomplished, and is there any one thing that stands out that she did when she was the mayor of Mississauga, where she really showed the leadership that she has?
One thing that definitely stands out to me was initially when she had heard about plans for possibly having Lakeview not include a gas plant or a power plant, she wasn't exactly warm to it. And I know people like Jim Tovey and John Danahy chipped away and put the real big foot forward and did some persuasion and convincing. And instead of getting dug in and saying no, 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 she was open and she was receptive. And once she heard a decent, credible argument, she had staff do, as she would always say, their homework. And of course, now we're getting to see the fruits of keeping an open mind. And I think that is so important for people that are in public life, is to keep an open mind.
I think it's such an interesting comment, because I find a lot of times, for ideological reasons or otherwise, people, politicians in general, will sort of stick to their team narrative. And to hear this story that somebody saw it a certain way, but was open to listening and to changing their mind. Changing your mind is not weakness when the information you have changes. So, I mean, I think that's a wonderful anecdote and a real testament to her character as a politician.
Absolutely. That's something that's truly incredible about her. And that's something that she has conveyed to me from pretty much when I first got elected, saying, keeping an open mind, if there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. And so I've taken that. That's a big part of my mantra moving forward. Keep an open mind and see what works, what doesn't work, and you can always change what you're doing. And for example, I've got the real pleasure of working with Jake on the Port Credit BIA, and during a year like COVID, you've had to keep an open mind to see what you could possibly do. And I don't think that between myself and Jake and the board and city staff, we ever would have had something, for example, like Classic Car Thursday this past summer, if we weren't all open in terms of willing to pivot. And I hate using that word, but that seems to be the buzzword right now, because everybody's got to do it. And then the other was, we had started, as you know, Tom, with our Sunset series down in Lakeview to do some live music down with the, I guess, right down where the sunflowers were. We got one in before the provincial legislation changed, for COVID. And so, again, we kept an open mind, worked together, and we were able to move over to Stonebroker Brewery to continue on with the rest of the series. To provide a little bit of entertainment for everybody. So those are just two examples, and I would say that a lot of that comes from Hazel's attitude of keeping an open mind and doing what's right for the public.
Now, when you look at the city today, obviously you are a Mississauga boy, born and bred. So when you look at the city today, where do you see Hazel when you look at the city? Where do you most say, wow, I don't think this project or this would exist without the hard work and vision of Hazel?
I think when you look at the city of Mississauga as a whole, you see her fingerprints all over it. She will take ownership for things that she thought didn't go the way that she would have liked them to go, or that if she made an error or whatever. But also she's very proud of a lot of the accomplishments. One of them being the library, which is right up in downtown Mississauga. And as a matter of fact, that is being named for her. We passed that through council, and that will get named for Madam Mayor. It will become the Hazel McCallion Library.
What a beautiful,
that's fantastic.
What a beautiful tribute. Sorry, Jake, did I cut you off there?
No, I just said that's fantastic. Yeah.
So now we have the big 100th celebration happening on Sunday, just a few days away. What can you tell us about your involvement in that?
Honestly, I don't have a whole lot of involvement in that particular event. I was very fortunate to do some work and be involved with things like Heritage Mississauga. There's a whole bunch of different tributes that are going on right now, and I'll put some stuff out as well. And I know that you had Ron Duquette on, who is a true gem, and he has he's known Hazel, I think, longer than probably most people have, and has done a lot of great things with Madam Mayor. And so I'm going to be front row and center to take in all of the festivities on Sunday.
Well, but before we have to let you go, it would be an injustice if we didn't take a second and ask you just to update the community on anything new, anything coming up, what we can look forward to in the spring, maybe for Ward 1, which of course includes our home of Port Credit.
Yeah, absolutely. So we still have, and this is going on until March, I still have the the Lakeview Golf Course open to the public, and that's from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. daily. We do have washroom facilities open for people that do need them. It's a 2-kilometer marked off track, so please keep off the greens. And I know Rick would be definitely saying that if he was here, so mindful of keeping people off the greens. Nice 2-kilometer track for people to walk around. All of the park community rinks are open right now, which hadn't until, quite frankly, this year gotten a whole lot of use in the past few years. This year they're quite popular, and it's great to see. It's nice at night, especially to hear that sound of skates going and pucks and things like that. And then, of course, what people have started to do, which is not a sanctioned event, and that's people skating on the Credit River. We're in the midst of getting some signage up, and just warning. A lot of it is common sense. If you see running water and in areas like that, stay the heck away from it. But people have been taking it in. I know that when I was a kid, I used to go down and skate down there as well. But exercise caution. We are getting some signage up as well. We happen to be, at a spot where we've got a nice cold stretch coming through where people are doing that. So it's great to see that. And then moving towards the springtime, I know you've got the man himself on from the Port Credit BIA, because we've got hopefully with numbers continuing to come down, what we've got was able to do with the city and council is waiving of fees for patios, things like that for the balance of the year. Also, it opens up for more pop-up spaces if people want to do some market type things. So we've got that going on, and then as well, there'll even be things like drive-in bingo, which is back, which will be on the table. So bunch of different things to try to get businesses going and to try to get people out in COVID-friendly ways again. And as well, we've got more events and things to come. And so that's going to be exciting to welcome people back out to the streets and to the parks, and just to be safe and quite frankly, feel a little bit of normalcy again.
Well, Stephen, thank you very much, as always, for being on the show and for sharing your reflections on Hazel as a city builder, but also as a peer and as a mentor to you. I think that's a fascinating conversation that you guys probably have. Sorry, Jake, was I cutting you off there? Were you going to say something?
I was just going to say, Stephen Daskal has so much energy for a 50-year-old. You just have to put in perspective that Mayor Hazel is double his age, and she's still got a lot of energy as well. So it's great seeing that. It's great seeing.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And no offense to Rick, but I brought my upgraded mug.
Ladies and gentlemen,
thank God it's a peel and stick.
This has been and is Stephen Daskal, our Ward 1 councillor. Thank you for all you do, and thanks for taking the time to be with us here today. And we will be right back.
Thank you for doing the show. It's great that you're back. And once again, happy birthday, Hazel.
And happy birthday to you. All right, we will be right back.